So I've had some requests for this video and how to make other parts of the body for this costume, so I'm just gonna start with the video here, and I do read your comments, and if you have any questions and any recommendations you think can make these things better, please comment them below and request more tutorials because I have no idea what to post now. So yeah, just request that stuff, and here's how to make a spring body mask. This is made mostly of cardboard and pretty accessible materials and somewhat cheap materials, so it should be easy to make and hopefully you can make it too. Here I'm just comparing sizes and comparing pieces to my old head and trying to remember what I did, but it's not too hard to make. You just want to have your basic parts. Hard to explain, but you know. I used a base reference here. I just looked at a model of spring body and sketched out the side and front view, but if a sketchpad model helps you, then definitely look up one of your character. Right now I'm making the snout. It could be made with foam, but I just decided to make it with cardboard since I would consider it a sharper feature, and I just prefer to do stuff with cardboard. And parts like these, I'd highly suggest sketching out what you're gonna do before you cut it, and just to get a good idea of what you want to do, what you want it to look like, and also cut slightly smaller than what you're gonna want it to be in the end, because you can always cut more off. And here's the basic shape of the head. It's just, you know, circle. This can apply to other characters, but just make it according to how your model looks, or your reference. And since it is cardboard, it's kind of flimsy, so we're gonna add a little more structure with these strips of cardboard on the sides. And using batting here isn't absolutely necessary, but I would rather use it just because it adds a good barrier between that cardboard and the fabric, and also just makes a good transition from the face to the rest of the head. For openings like these, I'd suggest cutting little triangles and folding them back into the head, so that way it just makes it look cleaner, and also just, yeah, that's all. For the ears, you can either just make them out of foam, or you can put a little bit of cardboard in the middle to make them a little more firm. That's what I decided to do with this, but it's up to you. And you're going to cut out the main shape and just slowly carve away until it's a bit softer and a smoother transition. Now you can see I put the face on, and it's looking pretty good to me, and this is how it should look so far. You just have to trust the process and keep going along with it, and it'll turn out in the end. I'm also putting a little bit of batting on the face just because I want the face to be smooth too. And here's how your eyes should work if you did follow that pretty sad little sketch I made for you, but if not, I might go over it in another video if you guys need that, but here we're just gonna make a pattern, and pretty simple again. I used a tutorial from Jugular Sauce, and probably be linking that guy a lot, sorry, but yes, here it's pretty simple and it works well if you're gonna make multiple of these. It's a good fabric pattern, and if you like sewing, then I suggest doing this. However, if you're not gonna sew it, you might just want to stretch the fabric over and glue it like that way. And here I'm just sewing it up, all the little pieces I cut from that pattern, and then you can just pull it over the head and it works really well. And to make the teeth, it's pretty simple. You're gonna layer your cardboard over and over until you have it about as thick as you want it, and then you're just gonna glue on the sides like this, if you can see that, and yeah, just fill in the sides with hot glue and you're gonna paint over it too, so it's prettier. Another tutorial by Jugular Sauce that I used, really smart idea, and my tips for if you're using Mod Podge resin are to soak your bottles in warm water for about 15-20 minutes, and also go over the tops with a lighter too, so you get out any excess bubbles that you don't want in that mix. And for the ears, I would not suggest that you use metal since it makes it a little bit top heavy. If you do, use maybe just smaller wire, not this thick though, because it's somewhat hard to use, but it does look kind of realistic, so you know, whatever you're going for here. My other suggestions would be to maybe use wooden dowel rods or even EVA foam. My knowledge isn't that, I don't have that much knowledge on this stuff, but those would be my recommendations. And here I'm just gluing in the teeth. I would suggest, again, sketching out, because if you don't sketch it out, you'll have to pull it out, and that's kind of a hassle, but yep, once you're done, it should look about like this. You'll still have some seams, but you can brush them over with a hairbrush or dog hairbrush, I don't know. Something like that. When you're making a jaw, I wouldn't suggest a full circle like I did. I'd suggest more of a curvy U shape if you want the jaw to look a little better. I'm not the happiest with this jaw, how it turned out, but, you know, trial and error here. And since this will be a little bit flimsy, I'd suggest either putting some supports on the sides or double layering it like I did here. And if you can see from this point of view, you can kind of see how it looks somewhat like a skeleton. To me, that's how I thought it looks like. I just don't like the side look exactly, and if you want to avoid that, you can make the sides go up a little higher, but it's whatever you prefer. And whenever you cut fabric, please cut the full piece, because it's better to have a little too much than too little, because then it's a struggle. And look at me go, I have a little piece of fabric. Why did I do that? I don't know, but whatever you do, avoid that if you can, please. And here we're going to make a nose that squeaks, and all you need for this is a little bit of foam, some cardboard, and a squeaker. And you can find some pretty cheap ones on Amazon for, you know, $10 for a 10-pack. Pretty cheap stuff. But here we go, and I just cut out my shape that I want the nose to be, and then glued the foam and the squeaker around it, and then threw some fabric on top. One thing I did like about the jaw was how it's lined on the inside, unlike my last one, and it actually looks a little bit like Fredbear's jaw, so that's a plus. You can add it however you want, design it a bit, like just change it up, and yep, that's all I can say about that. Okay, so here we're done with all the wild parts and we're off to the happy part, yay! So painting, it's a really pretty calm process, and as long as you don't put too much paint on there, it just works really well. So what you're going to want to do is just dab small amounts of the fabric paint, and I water mine down a little bit too, just so that way it blends somewhat into the fabric. And yeah, depending on how withered you want it, you can add more or less, but that's all you gotta do. So here's the finished product. I think I'm pretty happy with it. Good upgrade from my first head, and the jaw does move somewhat good, so I'm pretty happy with that. And if you like this, please like, maybe subscribe if you want, and please comment down below more tutorials, because like I said, I have no idea what to do next, but I will read the comments, all of them. Every single one. So thank you!